happy to see a lot of people coming in good number. And yes, there is absolutely a good reason for it that this under the pandemic, there has been all the reason to take care of our personal health hygiene. And in that context, terrace gardening is going to add more value to the dietary system, and then it provides all the nutritional value, tastes, and other things as well. So now, well, I'm not very new to the terrace gardening. I started doing long time back, but in last 7 to 8 months, since we all had a lot of time, so I started giving more focus to the terrace gardening, and we have come to a stage where, say, last 1.5 year, virtually I'm not buying any vegetable from outside. That itself is very satisfying to me. And so now coming back to the main topic of terrace gardening. So there are a few basic requirements to be fulfilled when it comes to terrace gardening. One is, I will take it point by point, and very rightly Pavitra has said that at the end of the session, we'll go back to the first slide, second slide, third slide, and we'll ask the participants if they have any question. I will try to answer to best of my ability, and we'll see later on. So first of all, the most important part of the terrace gardening to make it more success is the sunlight. There has to be adequate sunlight. We all know that without sunlight, plant cannot survive. So now again, the big question is how much sunlight? Well, we have got a lot of veggies of different types, which requires different kind of sunlight, different number of hours of the sunlight. So if I tell you that minimum we require around 6 to 7 hours of sunlight on the terrace, that is the minimum. Some of the veggies can be covered in 6 to 7 hours, but some of the veggies really requires 8 to 9 hours. Now it depends upon what. For example, leafy vegetables, root vegetables, for them 6 to 7 hours of sunlight is good enough. But as the plant grows bigger, even the breed of the plant is bigger. For example, not the veggies. If we talk about hybrid guava or hybrid chiku, that requires approximately 9 to 10 hours of sunlight. So primarily, sunlight is the most important when we decide about the terrace gardening. Having said that, another important factor on the terrace gardening is weight management. It is very important because we know that when we are dealing with the terrace, the weight is an important factor. Now, the weight comes from where? First of all, weight comes from the container in which you put the soil or the soil media, which I will later on discuss in the second slide, how to prepare a good soil media. But then that is also part of the weight. Then the container, the soil media, and let us not forget when it rains or when we water, it makes more heavier. So weight management is very, very important. And how to reduce the weight factor, further we will discuss. Now, the third is a proper drainage. Proper drainage from two angles. One is in the container in which the plant is growing, that itself should have a proper drainage, a very good drainage, because there are advantages for that. We will again discuss later. But again, the drainage of the terrace itself, because once we have got, imagine if the terrace is full of plants, there will be a lot of water coming out, either through rain or sometimes we will pour more water and the excess of water will flow. So we need to have a proper drainage system so that it doesn't spoil your terrace. Again, watering instruction. This is a very, very important factor when it comes to not only terrace gardening, but overall gardening. But it has more relevance when it comes to terrace gardening. How do we see, how do we calculate how much is water required? There is no thumb rule that every day in the evening at 5 o'clock we need to water the plant. No, nothing like that. There is a thermometer, which is, your finger is a thermometer. You insert your finger inside the soil by couple of inches or 1 inch. Take out your finger and see if it is moist. If it is moist, please do not put water. This is a thumb rule. It's as simple as this. But if your finger is dry, you need to put water. Now, how much water? That you will come to know once you start doing the terrace gardening over the experience that so much water. Because if you see a slide here, there is a crate put on the main slide. So that is the dimension of the size approximately 2 by 2 by 3. In that we put around 3 liters of water, and that is good enough. But again, there is no fixed rule in this. In summer, you might be watering 2 times. In rainy season, you might be watering twice in a week. So there is no fixed rule. The only rule is that you put your finger, see the moisture level, and then take a call. So this is the watering instruction, which is very important. And most of the time, the growth of the plant is very much depends on how you manage the water with your plant. Now we move to the second slide and see what all things are required. Now, important is soil media. This is a very important factor. And this is with respect to lakeshore home. This is a challenging task because all these things will be requiring on a consistent basis. Now there are 4 things here I have shown in the picture. One is coco pit, other you can see soil, the third is vermicompost, and 4th is leaf compost. On top of every picture, I have put percentage. 10% is the coco pit, 20% is the red soil, 35 and 35. These are an approximate value. There is no fixed rule again. A call can be taken upon based on what it's available with you. But then there are basic rules also. We will stick to the basic rule. Now, what is the role of coco pit? Coco pit has 2 roles. One is, it is a water retainer or moisture retainer. Second, the coco pit makes the soil media porous. But it has no nutritional value. Please keep this thing in mind. It has no nutritional value. Now comes to the 20% soil that I am talking of, red soil. The same soil what you get outside. It's very easy. Your gardener or mali can bring it to you. It's the same soil. You require a soil media. Then another is vermicompost, 35%. Very important factor in the soil media, 35% of vermicompost. Sometimes I go as high as 50% compost. That gives me a quick result. And there are 2 kinds of compost. One is vermicompost and other is non-vermicompost. Well, depends upon availability. somebody can take a call out of say 35%, let us increase to 50% vermicompost. But in that I will say, don't make all 50% vermicompost, make 30% vermicompost and 20% irregular compost, or vice versa. So both combination can work. So vermicompost is also an important factor and very important thing when we are preparing the soil media. Now in the last, you have got leaf compost. I mean, we are lucky to be in Lakeshore home. If we talk in terms of doing terrace gardening, then of late we have started this project of doing leaf composting. And you can see in the open field, these kind of structures. I have taken the picture from one of them so that it makes easy for you guys all to understand from where the leaf compost we will be getting. And if we have started today this project, maybe after 4 to 5 months, the leaf compost supply will be there for every resident. I do not know if it is on chargeable basis or not chargeable basis, but there will be a leaf compost. So, coco pit, I explained about the role of the coco pit. We just use 10%. We don't use more than 10% because it doesn't add value to, it adds value in two terms. One is that it is a moisture retainer. Second is that it provides porosity. It makes the whole media light. Then, of course, the soil 20%. Why we use soil only 20%? Because this is the heavy stuff. It will add a lot of weight to your terrace. So we try to minimize that. And then again, 35% vermicompost. In that you can play around with adding vermicompost, and you can add another simple compost. Then you come to leaf compost. Now, in compost, I think Lakeshore home, we are ourselves producing the compost. Prasida is taking care of that department. So again, the compost is there. Other day I was talking to someone and I said, I also will try to involve myself in the composting process so as to make sure that the composting is really nutritional, it's less hassle-free, it's quick and readily available at a low cost, at a cost which can be justifiable to all the residents when they are doing the terrace garden. So now let us move to, and if anybody has a question, we will come back on the same slide, and friends can ask questions whatever they want. So I'll come to this one. Third slide. Well, we talked about the soil media. Then again, this is important, container, selection of container. Well, this is, I leave it to the people to decide what they want, but at the same time, I will also share my experience because I have used all these three types. And I will tell you that everyone has advantages and disadvantages. Plastic container doesn't have much life, but easy to handle, easily available in the market. You can buy with a 6 inches depth, 8 inches, 9 inches, 12 inches. Then depending upon what kind of plant you want to grow, you have got a lot of options here in the plastic container. I started with plastic container, I discontinued because the disadvantage is that it doesn't hold a lot of soil media. So the produce is not very healthy, produce is not much. So, and I was always thinking bigger. So in my case, I was not very satisfied with the small plastic container. I moved to the grow bag later on, only from one angle that it was coming cheaper to me. But then I was not very happy with the grow bag for the same reason of durability. It gives you 9 to 10 months of life. And again, you have to rework in repotting, replanting things. It's a big messy work. Then later on, I came across a company called Happy Garden. You all are aware of that. A lot of customers are there still in Lakeshore Home. So they put planter box, which you can see in the wooden planter box. Here, from all angle, I felt that this concept of planter box is much better as compared to other two. So I settled down to the planter box, but the side I use plastic paint box, which holds good amount of soil media. But the idea is that need to have a container which carries more soil media. Because it becomes a restrictive area. In that restrictive area, you need to optimize your produce. So depends upon, I leave you guys to select, but honestly, if you ask me, I will go with the planter box. Now, yes, this is sowing seeds and saplings. There is a thumb rule I would like to share with you. Lot of people make mistake here. Where is the mistake? Seeds are of different sizes, different dimensions, different types. And the sowing has to be also accordingly. Smaller is the seed, you put less inside the soil. For example, in Kannada, sagu, or in Hindi we call sag, amaranthus, or palak, or these sags, leafy vegetables. Their seeds are very small. You don't have to insert inside. There is a tip here. Spread the seed, and on top of it, spread little bit of soil on top of it, and make sure that they are moist for another 6 to 7 days. It will grow. There is no reason why it will not grow. Now, when it comes to a little bigger seed, for example, okra, ladyfinger, little bigger. It has to go just 3 to 4 centimeter inside, 5 centimeter, not more than that. Another tip here. Please soak the okra seeds, ladyfinger seeds, overnight and put it inside. You will get a very quick result. Instead of 7th day or 8th day, you will get sprouting in 4th day or 3rd day. This is another tip which I do it on my terrace garden. Similarly, then one more thing, you know, all seeds will not germinate. Now we all have to work in higher probability. And what is that? When I am putting, argument's sake, 1 okra seed, just at a distance of 2 centimeters, I put another okra seed. So if one doesn't grow, another grows. So that is also very important factor, that what happens, suppose in a crate, if I have to grow 6 okra plants, then I will put 12 seeds together. And then I will take a call which one to keep and which one to reject based on the health of the plant. So that is very important factor, that when you are putting the seed, put 2 seeds close to each other so that later on you have a choice which one to keep, which one to reject. And I think I have almost covered how you put a seed. Again, one more thing I would here emphasize is not only related to the sowing of seeds and sapling, but once we start putting our hand, when we get into the practicality mode, then after 1 or 2 failure or 3 failure, we all learn ourselves. So it is the failure which teaches us, and it is relevant to everyone. So it's better to get started and learn. And at the end of the day, we are all there to help each other if there is any mistake somewhere. Also, very, very important is selection of seed. So what happens, what I do precisely, if I have to plant 6 okra seed, again I take the example of okra seed, I'll have 20 seeds on my hand and I will select 12 bigger seeds and I'll plant them. You will see the result will be much better. So that's another point that needs to be taken care. Selection of seed. Select the best one. Another thing, important thing, as I was talking, I just remembered. Seed must be fresh. If seeds are lying with you for more than 7, 8 months, 9 months or 10 months or a year, you better discard them. It will not give you good result. Even if it grows, the quality of plant will be much bad, much inferior. Now, how do you ensure that the seeds are fresh? You tag them. How do you tag them? In my case, when I grow my plant, okra plant, I leave one okra for seeds. One lady finger, I just leave them to become mature and then give seed. The day I put it in a poly cover or somewhere, I just write them. This is the date I put it. So I have a track of the age of the seed. Please do not use any seed which is more than 9 months and 10 months. It will not give you good result. That is for sure. I am a customer of Happy Garden. Other day I was talking to the proprietor and he was telling, Alok, you will not believe. I keep throwing lakhs and lakhs of seeds. After every 6 months, and they become like a dead furrow. So don't use old seeds, use fresh seeds. It will give you a better yield, better result. And of course, I told you that the media must be very moist. Make sure that during the sprouting period of 6 to 7 days, the surface must be moist all the time. That's also very important. So we'll move to the next slide. I think I have almost covered everything. Again, I repeat, we'll take up the question in the end, and Pavitra will play a role in that. So let's move to that. Adding manures and fertilizers. Well, when we prepare the soil media, when a seedling or sapling is grown, maybe another 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you may not need to add any manure or fertilizer, because the soil itself, the media itself is very free. It has a lot of nutrient. The plant is taking nutrients. But then, as a habit, what I do with my plant, that I select one particular day. In my case, I have selected Sunday, because preferably I will have more time on Sunday morning. So what I do is, I fistful of compost I will add to the plant. And again, there is a very common mistake. Don't put manure next to the stem. Keep it, spread the manure little away from the stem, because the root will be away from the stem, main stem. It will not be close to that. So please put the manure there and mix the manure with hand or any tool, then and there only. Water them. So make sure in a very confined atmosphere, in a very confined container, you need to keep adding manure on a weekly basis. it's not we are not growing on the land where it is, the roots are deeply penetrated and it is taking nutrition on its own. The nutrition is there inside the box and they consume over the week and then we add over the weekend. So that's very, very important. Now, in terrace gardening, here we are talking of organic farming, producing the vegetable through organic way. So what happens is that vermicompost will take care of maximum of your nutrients. What are those are important, like potassium, nitrogen, calcium, phosphorus. So we, if you use a good quality of compost, it is taken care automatically. Then some of the plants, they require additional. For example, tomatoes and brinjal, they require additional calcium. If you don't provide them, the tomatoes, the fruit of the bottom of the fruit will become rotten, will start rotting. Brinjal starts rotting. They require additional calcium. Now, different people use different mechanism how to put calcium. Some of them, they crush the eggshell and they put it. Some of them, they buy chalk powder or the chalk which a teacher uses on the blackboard. The same chalk, it has calcium. In the mixie, you make it powder and throw it there. That also serves the purpose. Some of them, they use a very small amount of calcium nitrate, which is available on the Amazon or in the market. That's also another solution. So there are different ways of providing calcium, but again, depending upon the plant. I named these two plants, they require additional calcium. Now, a good cow dung compost or vermicompost is a beautiful substitute of NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These are very, very important. So that is also there. Now, I told you that cocoa pit has a role as a moisture retainer, but at the same time, the vermicompost not only provides nutrition, but it has a water holding capacity as well. And then this compost, when you keep on adding, it makes your media very light, which helps in propagating the roots. That's also, it has a role in propagating the root. The roots, the area around the roots are more aerated. So the direct nitrogen from the air can go through, and then you have got microbes and bacteria who are fixing the nitrogen for the plant. So overall, it provides nutrition to the plant. So the importance of adding manure and fertilizer on a weekly basis in a very disciplined manner is very, very important in having a very good yield on the terrace. Most of the people will agree with me, and most of the people are doing, of course. So we will now move to the next topic. Protection of pests and weeds. On the terrace gardening, you will not come across the weeds much, but still there will be weeds who will be competing with your main plant. So you have to take care of the weeds. Taking care of the weed is nothing but weed them out, and you need to understand the difference between weed and the main plant. Most of the people will get confused. So let the weed to grow further so that you can differentiate between the main plant and the weed. Initially, I also made a lot of mistakes. Instead of taking out the weed, I would take the okra plant itself. So initially, people make a lot of mistakes. So to avoid that, let the weed to grow further, and once they grow further, we are able to identify what is weed and what is the main plant. So of course, in the terrace gardening, weeding is taking out the weed is not a big problem. Pest is the most difficult part of the terrace gardening to manage. I tell you, 90% of the residents or those who are doing farming either on terrace or somewhere, pest is a very, very difficult challenge. And we all go through this challenge. There are ways how to control the pests. One way is, first of all, we need to understand the pest has to be eradicated organically, not using any chemicals. Otherwise, the whole idea of organic farming is nullified. So, we all know, all the people who are right now in the webinar sitting, they know that neem oil is the best solution. I also agree, neem oil is the best solution. So now, there are instructions in how many liter you put so much of neem oil, and then along with that, you have to add some soaps or detergent to make it emulsified, and then the spraying becomes easy. Otherwise, the oil doesn't get mixed with the water. So you have to add to make it emulsion. Now, in this context, I'm a little lucky that pests are better controlled by the agency with whom I'm working. So they take care of that. They give me a solution. But the basic is that you have to use the neem oil. One more organic way of controlling the pest is through crop rotation. It's very surprising and must be new for a lot of people, but crop rotation plays very important role in controlling the pest. If you rotate the crop, the cycle of the pest is also broken. It's very important you can think how it is. Because aphid, if aphid attacks some plant and then later on you harvest and you discontinue that plant, the aphid cycle gets affected, and aphid, for the next plant, aphid is not there. So it also helps in breaking the pest cycle. So that way you are controlling the pest. Well, there are so many ways of removing the pests. There are ways where you can, sometimes I wear the gloves and take out all the aphids. Aphid is the easiest to handle, because even if you shake the plant, the aphid will fall. And once the aphid falls, they don't climb again. And why the aphid is very, very, they get attracted to the, what they do is they get attached to the stem. They secrete sucrose from the plant, and you would see that wherever the aphid is there, the ants are also going to the aphid. It is not the ant which are going to kill those aphids. Ants are going because the sucrose is generated by the aphid. So in a way, aphids are helping ant also by giving them the sucrose. So there are ways. Pest, I said neem oil, using neem oil is the best. Then physically removing all. Let us move to the next slide now, and that is very important here. Crop rotation. You can see this slide carefully. Crop rotation is the practice of growing a series of different types of crops in the same area across a sequence of growing seasons. It reduces reliance on one set of nutrients, pest, and weed pressure and the profit and the probability of developing resistant pests and weeds. Very important. But I will explain you a little bit what is the benefit of crop rotating. First of all, when we try to put the first plant, we must put leafy vegetables. Why? Because in the soil media, in the freshly prepared soil media, you have got all the nutrients. You have got nitrogen, you have got potassium, you have got magnesium, you have everything. Now, leafy vegetable will consume most of the nitrogen of the soil. They consume hell lot of nitrogen from the earth, from the soil media. So what you do is, first crop should be of leafy vegetable. Now, once you harvest, once that crop is over, the soil doesn't have much nutritional value left because this palak, this amaranthus, everything has taken away. What you do is, next you put root vegetable, radish, carrot, beetroot, that you put, because they don't require nitrogen. They require very less nitrogen. So what happens? Here two things happens. One is that they don't require nitrogen. So you grow a root vegetable. You get a root vegetable without having much nitrogen in the soil. But in that process, you are buying time also. In that time, because a root vegetable will take approximately 21 to 30 days. So in 30 days, you are adding manure also, and your plant is not consuming those nitrogen and other minerals from the soil. And in that 21 to 30 days, a long time, the soil gets enriched by nitrogen from the atmosphere also. When you are making the soil loose, lot of nitrogens goes inside through pores, and there are a lot of bacteria are there which are fixing nitrogen for you and enriching the soil with the help of nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen. So when it comes to harvesting, that when the time comes of harvesting the root vegetable, by that time your soil is already enriched. So, and periodically we are putting handful of compost, which I told you earlier. So when it comes to after root vegetable, when it comes to other vegetables like tomatoes, brinjals, and other vegetables like capsicums, cabbage, cauliflower, by that time your soil is again rich in nutrition. And these plants also doesn't require much of nitrogen. Nitrogen is required by the leafy vegetables most. So we are rotating the crop because we want the soil to get rich organically. And at the same time, we are putting compost also. So it's two-way. We are enriching the soil. Now, so crop rotation is very, very important, and you will see a very quick result in that. You will see the health of the plant. It's very good. I hope crop rotation, people will follow the crop rotation. We will move to the next slide, and that is harvesting. Harvesting is, well, it is a very, it is a period where people are just waiting for that. It's a very joyful moment. All your hard work, you are going to see them at the time of harvesting. And most of the people would have seen that I enjoy every day by posting pictures on the enthusiastic group about the harvesting, putting lot of this one. So for me, every day is a very joyful day. But we need to plan that. What do you mean by planning of harvesting? We don't want to fill the fridge when the, say, argument say 20 tomatoes are ripe, red. Let me tell you, if you require 5 tomatoes, just harvest 5 tomatoes. Rest 15 tomatoes, if it is there in the plant, it will stay longer. So this is a planning of harvest. One more thing is, even by mistake, if you have harvested 6 tomatoes, don't worry. Organic tomatoes will not rotten so fast. It will stay long without without fridge also it will stay for long. Take my word. Compare the vegetables which you buy from outside and the vegetable which you organically grow on the terrace. The shelf life is huge. It is more than 3 times. The tomato you buy from the market, it will stay maximum for 3 to 4 days. You just leave it alone. Even in the fridge, they will stay for 3 to 4 days. But I have got tomato which is 15 days old in my fridge right now. Now you will say, Alok, why did you harvest so much that it is 15 days lying in the... Sometimes being a non-vegetarian, we change we eat something else. Then sometimes situations such arises that tomatoes, we have to harvest because in the plant it can't hold so much. It drops. Sometimes the situation taste, I mean, I don't have to even discuss. Everybody knows that the taste of the organically grown vegetables are no way compared to what we buy from outside. So harvesting also here, though there is no point here, but I would like to emphasize on one point here. Around approximately a week back or 10 days back, I was just reading one of the WhatsApp messages from one of our good friend from Lakeshore Home. And she was telling that what man this radish are grown and on a single day all the radish are ready to harvest. And the next day there is no radish left in the planter box. Well, first of all, we need not to harvest all the radish on that single day. Second, when it comes to sowing, there is a trick to it. Argument's sake, put 5 seeds of radish today. After 3-4 days, put another 5 seeds. Another 5 days, put another. So when you get the harvest, you get harvest over a period of 20-25 days. Here also, I want to emphasize on one more point. It's related to harvesting also, that how to gain the continuity of the produce. For that, we need to understand the life cycle of each plant. I will give you a classic example of a tomato plant. It has a life cycle of 90 days. A beetroot has and a carrot has a life cycle of 90 days. So what happens? I will not wait for 70th day or 80th day to sow the seed of another generation of carrot. I will not do that. When the seedlings of or the saplings of a carrot is 30 days, I will use another planter box to put seed there. So there will be a development of carrots at different stages. That gives me continuity. Needs to be planned. And for that, we need to understand the life cycle of each plant. Periodically, it is into 3 categories. 30 days. We say 21-30 days. I'll take it 30 days. 90 days. And 1 year. You will say, which is 1 year? Brinjal. 1 year. tomatoes. By the time you start harvesting the tomatoes, it will be approximately 2.5 months. And it goes for another 1 month, how you plan your harvest. That's why harvesting is so important. If you plan your harvest, you can take the harvest to almost a month from the day when the first of your tomato has ripened to the last of the tomato which you harvest. It actually goes for a month. So you have 1 month there also. So that's why harvesting becomes very important, because it helps in giving time for you to give continuity to your produce. Let us move to my next slide. It is planter box. Well, before starting this particular slide, I would like to thank Pavitra. This is the brainchild of Pavitra. One fine day I was passing by her house. I saw a similar planter box lying in front of her house. I was surprised because she was there in the roof gardening, and for some reason she left the roof gardening, and then I see a planter box in front of her house. I was very surprised. Coincidentally, I got a message from Pavitra asking, Ki, Alok, how is this? Can you spare some time and tell me how it is? I went there, I saw, and I didn't like the quality and the simple tarpaulin that was used. I share all my info, whatever I could give to her. And then I don't know what happened to me. All of a sudden I said, Pavitra, just put this planter, help me putting this planter box in my car. I went to some carpenter and I showed him this one. Boss, I want this with 1.5 or 2 feet depth, 2 feet width, and 3 feet of length. Because that is called deep planter box. It will take care of most of your plants. And the kind of finishing, one sample I have got in front of my house lying on my terrace. Anybody who is interested, who can come and see. The finishing, what I got it at a cost which I don't want to disclose right now, but definitely it is at the cost to cost. My whole idea is to create a green drive, green ecological, whatever organic drive in the Lakeshore home, and let people to get benefited. So I put my hand into this project of organizing a planter box, which is at the cost to cost. And the finishing is so good that even Pavitra was mesmerized by seeing that and said, wow, it looks like a showpiece in the drawing room also. It can be put in the drawing room also for keeping the flowers. So this is an area where recently I have worked, and I would like our friends from Lakeshore Home to take advantage of this. This is really amazing. The blue sheet, what you are seeing is a different kind of plastic sheet, which is UV tested, and I don't know, UV proof, whatever they call them, UV proof, but it has a very big tensile strength and big durability. It can last for 5 to 6 years. The technology is the same what they use manufacturing Syntex tanks. That's what I have been told. So the life of this plastic sheet is very much. And the wood, what you see is the solid wood, packing wood, and it has been varnished to take care of weathering. In the bottom, they have provided the plastic bush so that it is not directly in touch with the your terrace. Price, it's very, it's very much affordable. It is much, much cheaper than what you can get online from Amazon, or anybody else can do it for you. So these are the things. And with this, I think I have almost covered all the topics. So I will request now Pavitra to see that if any questions, slide by slide, if anybody has a question, I will try to answer to my potential. Over to you, Pavitra.
Sure, Alok. Yes. Before that, would you like to take us through your video where you have captured from your garden?
Yes, I will try to show you a video. Here it is a video, right? Okay. So,
Alok, on lighter side, you will
yes.
find these boxes in Amazon very soon from my side. I'll buy from you and sell them.
I would be very happy. Yeah. So
it's actually very surprising that why no vendor has put it till date, because it was for past 1 to 1.5 months I was researching on this, because you know, Alok's pictures are so tempting and I didn't want to buy those plastic pots. So I was searching so much, and then we thought we will just explore the DIY boxes done by some carpenter. But the final product which Alok has got it done is really, really practical and very good. Yeah, the video is ready. So let's see.
Oh my God, it is too good. Too good.
There are too many tomatoes hanging by the plant, no, on Alok's terrace. You'll have people coming to your place now right after the session to take tomatoes.
yeah, Pavitra, we are over with this.
Alok, I will help you, Alok, to sell 10 rupai ka teen.
Put it up in the tennis court when you guys go to play. Okay. So, Alok, you can share the presentation again. We have quite a lot of questions, and they're not slide wise. Perhaps we can start. And if you think the content is from a particular slide, you could take the control to that and then explain. So to start with, we have a question from Mona. How much minimum space we require to set up terrace garden? Should we start with saplings or plants? Alok, am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear. Yeah.
Can you come back on the question again? You froze.
Question was on the minimum space that is required to set up the terrace garden. Should we start with saplings or plant?
No, shall we start with sapling plant? See, yeah, I understand the question now. Mohana, see, you don't require a very big terrace. Mine itself is a very small. Around 150 square feet should be more than sufficient. That's one. Second is that you have to there are plants which require
I think he's breaking.
Yeah, looks like. Alok, can you hear us? You're breaking actually.
directly to be put to
No. Alok, can you hear us? Alok, can you hear us? I don't know what happened. One moment. Aryan, can you hear us?
yeah.
Just call him and check with him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear?
Yes, now you're back.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, there was some internet connection again. ACT, maybe ACT problem.
Yes, yes, no problem.
So I will repeat the his answer to Mohana, right? One is that Mohana 200 square feet should be good enough. Between 150 to 200 square feet is good enough. Second, depending upon what you want to grow, offline you can contact me. I'll help you out, brother. And I have to see what you want to grow. Depending upon your food habits, what you're liking and disliking, you get in touch with me. I'll help you.
Okay, Alok, in general, if I have to rephrase that question, for a family of 4, how many planter boxes you suggest? For example, some greens and some veggies and some root vegetables. Yeah. How many boxes, 3 by 2, that you recommend for a family of 4?
Yeah, see, I tell you, but I'll tell you in general, I have got 24 crates, planter box, and we're a family of 3. I end up sharing my produce with my neighbor and good friends. So a family of 4, I think anywhere between 18 to 24 trays is good enough. But let us not go so far. Let us start with say 10 to 12 planter box, and then gradually you increase depending upon what all you like to grow and all. So, but if you ask me a very specific question, I'll say between 20 to 24 is good enough. It is more than enough.
But better to start small and then add.
Yes, 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 yes.
Now that you have the planter box.
Yes, I have the planter box. I can give it to whomsoever they want. They can come.
The next question is.
Sorry, can I ask one more question if you don't mind?
Yeah.
Just related to that. Yeah. So do you suggest the drip irrigation for this one? Like, can we connect any sort of like pipe so that it will be easy to water the plant?
See, why you want to go for drip irrigation? Just because
So that it is automated, right? So I don't need to.
automated, so you don't have to go there on the terrace.
Yeah, exactly. If we have the control,
Uh,
it will control it from the.
You
I
can
mean,
do that, but I won't recommend drip irrigation. What I would recommend that you put your own hand in the soil, you get a better yield.
Okay.
I would like to share my experience here. So I had the Happy Garden set up on my terrace like a year and a half back, and then I discontinued for some reasons because I was not able to spend enough time. They'll come back then, they were visiting once a week to, remove the weeds and all that. Then after that, they made it once in 2 weeks. Even when they were visiting once a week, it still required me to go walk around, take out the weed, at least care for the plants. As long as I was doing that for almost 6 months, I used to get very good harvest. I was extremely happy about it, and referred so many people. Everything went well. Then I got completely busy with my work, so I delegated the watering work to my maid and the harvesting work as well to my maid. Harvesting I used to do sometime, but mainly the watering I delegated to my, and you could see the difference. I could see the difference in the harvest that I started getting. Many of the boxes were not being utilized sometimes, and over a period it continued, and I'm like, what's the point if I'm getting hardly any harvest and I'm buying most of the stuff from outside? So it's always better to keep the planters in a place where you will walk around often, right? Unless you are ready to spend at least 10 minutes to go visit the plants, trust me, it won't work. I mean, that's
Yeah,
my personal experience.
I'll add here to the Pavitra here that Pavitra, very rightly you said, the gentleman said if we can use a drip. The whole idea is that you don't want to go there and use the automated system. The purpose gets defeated. You are away from the plant. You will not understand about the plant, their cycle, their nutritional requirement. Water is not the only thing. Then you have to keep adding some manure because it is in a closed container. So water is the one aspect that you are taking care with the help of automated system. But what happens to the liquid fertilizer, the other fertilizers that the plant requires, then pest control. So automated systems can take care one aspect of the gardening, but what about the others? And then once you are away from the garden, then it will not fall in place.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so it's not that I don't want to be away from the plants. It's just that sometimes we are out of station, right? So that time it will be helpful. Even if you're not there, we could have this sort of setup. What I thought.
You can do that, certainly.
Yeah, I think you can look for some DIYs. You can put some holes in a bottle and then put it inverted, because depth irrigation, I mean, it's an investment, right?
Yeah.
So if it's for short duration, you can check those options. Okay, so the next question, Alok, is during the rainy season, does too much rain drain the nutrients from the soil? Any action needed from us in that case?
Okay, one point that I have not taken during my slide presentation, here through this question, I would like to tell everybody. Friends, when we have soil media ready and we have container ready, how do we put soil media inside the container? There are ways in that. At the end, it will answer to his question also. What I do generally is that in the planter box or in the grow bag, everywhere you have got a bottom hole through which the water will go, excess of water will come out. So what I do is, the very first bottom layer, I use dry leaves, almost like 2 to 3 inches. I use dry leaves. These dry leaves, I collect it from the road. The lady who cleans our Lakeshore Home Road, I give 4 or 5 bags to her and I request her, she will fill in the bags. Those 5, 6 big bags are lying in my garage. those dry leaves, I put it at the bottom of the container, whether it's a planter box or the growing bag or whatever it is. So what happens? That 2 to 4 inches of your dry leaves provides you a good drainage also. It doesn't block your hole. Between the soil and the hole, there is a dry leaf which acts as a filter also. And at the same time, after 1.5 months, those dry leaves gets converted into leaf compost. So both ways. Yes. Any other question now?
Yeah. Okay, so the next one is constituent of soil media by weight or volume. Composition. The slide where you had the percentage.
Oh, okay. Don't micro control so much. Please do not control micro control so much. It is hardly it matters by weight or by volume. It's you are coming very close to that. It doesn't affect much. So either way is okay. Next question. Either way is okay. Either by volume or by weight, it's okay.
Okay. And what is the recommended height of a sapling before shifting it to the planter box?
Depends upon the plant. Capsicum, it has to be more than 2 inches or 3 inches, approximately 3 inches. Depends upon the tomatoes, 3 to 4 inches. At least it should have 3 sets of leaves coming out of it.
Okay, we can go by that rule. Like
yeah, but as a thumb rule, anything which is more than 3 inches is very safe to transplant.
Easy to just check like this and 6 inch.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Good. The next one is how about using seeds from veggies we get from shop versus buying the seeds? It's more like to know the quality of it.
See, I have never used seeds from any veggies which I buy from outside. I have used only 2 ways. One is sometimes I have bought from Amazon when I wanted something different. Because I told earlier that I am a customer of Happy Garden. So they provide seeds, 90% seeds that they provide, 10% which I want something exotic. First of all, I don't recommend people growing exotic here. It's better to grow local veggies, what you get here. But even if you want some exotic, that I buy from that I used to buy from Amazon earlier. After that, what happened is once I have my plant grown, do the harvesting, I leave one fruit for seed purpose, and that way I have created seed bank. And that seed which I get it from the plant itself, trust me, it is of very good quality. It has a very good result.
Like you leave it in the plant itself, is it?
Yeah, I leave it to the plant itself. Pavitra, today when you came here in one of the brinjal, which even showed in the video also, a very big one, I have left it for seed. And that seed will be amazing. I don't mind sharing that seed with everyone. Anybody, please come and have seed from me. It will be very fresh. And you will see almost more than 90% success rate.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, look, one question here. Why do you have to buy seeds? You know, you can use your fruit seed only, like tomato, for example, or what are the seeds which you have to buy on a regular basis?
I told you that the seeds which I buy, which I do not have of some exotic variety. First of all, in the video you saw yellow small cherry tomato. That seed Happy Garden can't provide. Then I have got a few other exotic variety of vegetables which Happy Garden they don't give. So that kind of seeds I have bought initially from Amazon. Now I'm not buying. Earlier I bought. Now the plants are growing. Now I'm making seed from them.
Okay, so you don't buy typically from outside. You basically you have your own seed, right? Mostly.
Yes, I have my own seed and I'm always happy to give it just like that to anybody who comes. I think I have given in the, not only seed, I have given saplings also so many times and I'll continue doing that. That gives me happiness. Please,
I
anytime.
think that is something that we'll be doing it in the coming days, right? Now that more and more people will venture into it, because even when you buy a pack of some seed packet from Amazon, you get many seeds. You would hardly
Yes.
need 5 to 6, right? I think we
Absolutely.
create
Those can be shared also.
correct. We should create an atmosphere where we just share the seeds and saplings and so on. Okay, next question is, now that most of us have gone for the composting kamba. So say we are using the compost from that kamba. Okay, and you were referring to the calcium source that we'll have to consider, like the chalk or the eggshell for some of the plants like tomato and brinjal. So what is the recommended calcium source? You said 2 or 3 options, right? So which one do you recommend, considering in combination we are using the compost from our kamba?
See, first of all, I will add a little bit of knowledge here that calcium is required in only few plants like tomatoes and brinjal. I mean more of calcium. I am using calcium nitrate in a very small quantity. And that's a very small quantity and it has a very quick result. A result to such an extent where if in a plant your first tomato has started rotting and there are another 10 tomatoes in your plant, and today if you spread calcium around the root, the second tomato stops rotting. It has such a fast effect of calcium on the plant. I said there is no thumb rule. Chalk powder is also good. Eggshell, keep lot of eggshell in a mixie, in a grinder, crush it and throw this one powder. That also works. Calcium nitrate directly from the Amazon when you buy, that also works beautifully. In that you add little more nitrogen to the plant, but again the quantity has to be less.
Right. Okay. The next question is from Deepthi. Please share the best composition of soil media. Yeah, this, okay, this is the best composition of soil media for planting seeds.
No, what I explained in my slide is the composition media for growing any kind of vegetable. The same composition media you can use for seedlings also, from seed to seedlings.
Okay, good. The next question is, during the rainy season, because you see some people who have put up shade net, right? I mean, is it really required? Given your logic of having the 2 to 3 inches of dry leaves put up in the box, I believe then shade net is really not required, at least to cover the rain part of it. How about sunny?
Not required. Not at all required.
Okay, great. Next one is from Deepthi. Should the seeds be given any organic fertilizer after germination, but before transplanting?
No.
No, not needed. Okay.
No, not required.
Okay, when should saplings be transplanted from seed to, this one we discussed around 6 inch as a rule, right?
Depending upon this one, but if it is more than 3 to 4 inches, it is always better. It is more safe. The sapling becomes more sturdy and it can take the stress of transplantation.
Okay, the next question is from Aloka. Since it's raining heavily, if I sow palak, then 4 days continuous rain, the seeds get washed away.
So what happens on that, what you can do is you can cover them. You can put a side stone in an area where you have put these seeds. In fact, if you cover them, you are providing shade. So the sprouting the seed is even faster.
Yeah.
Cover them, not a problem. It will not get washed out. It just
or maybe when you are...
whatever resources you have, sheets or anything. You just cover them for 4 or 5 days. One starts sprouting, you remove the cover. It will take care of the rain and other things. Yes, please go.
All right. The next one is from Viha. Any good books that describes what crops to rotate based on season, sunlight, water, and the nutrients need based on the Indian environment?
There is
Alok,
don't
yes,
have to
okay.
refer any book. There first you put 3 leafy vegetables which are available. One is red amaranthus and green amaranthus. This is sagu variety. Then you have palak, spinach. Correct. So these are the 3 leafy vegetables, and few more will be there. I will not. Some local sagu varieties are there. Any sagu variety you put, any leafy vegetable you start, and you continue with that. You start with that sagu variety.
So just to summarize, so it's the leafy greens and then the root vegetables and then the regular vegetables.
Then
If
the
you
regular
skip
vegetables
the root
like
vegetables,
beans,
you can
capsicum, cabbage, cauliflower, and all those things.
Okay.
And after cauliflower or cabbage or beans, again you go back to the leafy vegetables.
Okay. And at what stage you start putting the manure weekly once? Because initially,
At what stage?
right?
So suppose, see, when it is 4 inches sapling, you have put there, correct? No. Now, when you have transplanted that sapling, that time you don't have to add any manure because the soil media itself is very rich. It is fresh, new.
Okay.
So once it starts growing and you see that it has come to a stage where the budding has started, even a little pre-budding stage, you can start that process of adding a fistful of compost on a weekly basis.
Okay. Okay. Good. So next question is, which are the easiest veggies to grow? Perhaps the beginners would like to start with something easy that I myself asked, but given the crop rotation logic you're saying, we'll start with the greens and proceed. So I think we are okay there, right?
Easy is 90% are easy because there is no rocket science in that. Now, if you still want coming out something from my mouth, I will tell you palak, spinach we call, muli, radish, very, very easy. Beetroot, very easy. Tomatoes, one of the easiest.
That is it.
Even if you throw a tomato somewhere, 90% of the chances that saplings will start coming from there. So these are the easiest things. Which coriander, soak coriander overnight and then grow, you get a better result. Same coriander what you use in your kitchen, same. Don't have to go here and there.
Okay.
Methi. Dill leaf. Another very easy. So all these things are very, very easy.
Okay. All right. So the Shaheen has a suggestion that since COVID is almost over, I mean, coming at least the next year when it is over, we could think of organizing a live terrace gardening session. Yeah, a good one. I mean, by then probably all of us will have, small garden at least set up. So next is Sudhir wants to know the cost of planter box. I believe that we'll disclose at the end of the session. So stay tuned. Okay. And the next is, I'm using my backyard, Giant's question, directly in the ground. So what changes should be done to soil mix, drainage, and adding compost? Basically, directly in the sand, if he has to grow, what is the steps to be taken?
Well, if you're directly on the land, on the ground, then just make sure that first 6 inches, if you are able to maintain the same constituent what I explained them, then you will see the plant growth very fast. And once the root goes, it touches the original earth part, then from there it takes on its own. You don't have to worry. So what happens, you are giving flip to the plant by providing the same soil media of say 7 to 8 inches. And then finally the root goes inside the soil and then it takes care of it. So nothing to worry. Just use the same soil media at your at the backyard, and but make sure sun is there, light 6 to 7, 8 hours light is, that is very challenging, because at the backyard to get sunlight is a little difficult. So that part you have to, if you make sure, there is no reason why you can't grow veggies there also.
Okay. So basically the same composition, instead of the planter box, you will dig a pocket in the land and then
Exactly.
put
Beautiful, beautiful.
Okay.
One more point here, I missed out in telling that. Now that after a couple of months or 3 months, 4 months, summer will be coming, because here the summer itself starts from end of January. So actually February becomes very hot. March, April becomes very hot. These 3 months will give you very less produce. Don't get disheartened. I became disheartened 2 years back, and I started shouting at Happy Garden ki, no, I'm no more interested, nothing is happening. He said, please sir, carry on, carry on. First shower, pre-monsoon, and overnight things change like anything. So, but even in 3 months, I learned few things. Grow certain veggies which really requires hot weather. For example, brinjal, tomatoes, chilies, they really require hot weather. 8 to 9, 10 hours of sun is also okay. In a planter box, if you are growing over the terrace, use mulch, which I wanted to take it in the main discussion. I forgot that point. Now here I will suffice to that mulching is very, very important during the summer season. What is mulching? We are fortunate that we are in Lakeshore home, where there are a lot of dry leaves, and little bit of managing the dry leaves, you will have ample. So when it is summer, on top have a 3 to 4 inch of dry leaf layer. One, it stops evaporation. Water retention is for longer period. The lower part of the leaf gets converted into compost. Recycle them. So please do the mulching in the summer. Related to this, one more point is that when you have a hand on your terrace gardening, what I do here is that when I'm preparing a planter box, the first layer I put dry leaves. I explained you, I put dry leaves. On top, whatever, you will not believe, whatever garbage, that organic garbage that I have, I spread it there. Now what is that? Being a non-vegetarian, there will be a lot of leftover bones which is not able to get composted in the khamba. I take out all the bones, I spread it there on top of the dry leaves. Whatever is the dead plant which I used to throw earlier, that also I spread it as a layer there. And on top, I will put the soil media. I have seen the result. Wherever I have dumped these organic garbage inside, there the growth of the plant is amazing. The result is amazing. The health of the fruit is amazing. So here the point here is nothing goes waste in this nature. We need to recycle. And once you do it, it becomes a practice. And earlier I used to throw sometimes excess of green leaves and other things. Now what I'm doing, I'm putting everything in a blue big drum. And whenever I have to change the whole planter box, I use them as in the bottom. And they become manure. After 2 months or 3 months, those even hard stems, they become manure. So this is another tip that will help you in giving a good produce. Yeah, next.
Okay. So can we also use the partially done compost? Like say we have those 4 kambas, right?
Yes, yes, my dear.
Can just,
What you can do is partially done, put it at the bottom.
yeah, right.
Compost or becomes part of that soil later on.
Because getting the leaves, yeah, okay. Perhaps that's a good option as well.
Yes. So you don't have to throw any leaves or any stem. See, generally when we harvest, what we do with the whole plant, we throw it, right? Don't
Can be used for
put
sure.
it inside the drum.
Yeah,
Say week's time or 10 days.
can be used.
Occasion of changing the soil of the another planter box.
Yeah.
Use all that as the second layer just after the leaf,
Got it.
and it will give amazing result. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the next question from Deepthi on the wood type and the plastic sheet that is used for the planter box and where to get them from. I think that's about the planter box. Alok will touch base on that at the end. Okay, and yeah, a lot of messages where people are very happy with the session. So good, Alokji, and all that.
Thank you.
And some more question. After how many months did you break even the total cost of setting up the terrace garden?
Well, that I have not calculated, but I will touch upon very quickly that first 3 months will be frustrating. Don't worry. Why do I say that? Actual result you will get after 1 month, because by that time palak, coriander, methi, dill leaves, you will start harvesting. So actual harvesting will start after 1 month, 1.5 months. By 3rd month, on 90th day, you will start harvesting tomatoes, brinjals. So now you can calculate yourself.
Okay. And we have a question from Shanti, who feels the direct heat was affecting the plants in her first floor when she used those.
No, terrace gardening is all about getting direct heat. I mean, in contrary to that, well, I would be happy if my terrace gets 8 to 9 hours of, this is all about the basic requirement of a terrace gardening is that we should get direct sunlight.
Yeah, agree. And then Vinay thinks it should not be looked at ROI basis. Yeah, totally. Return on investment to our bully.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If somebody, take my word, if somebody is talking about ROI in growing a veggie, organic veggie,
yeah,
please don't do it. Please do it. Yes.
That, I mean, even for somebody as knowledgeable as Alok, spending his time, effort, and interest into this, and the capital that is put in these whole boxes, everything, we can't really look at the ROI. Then forget about for people who are beginners. The only thing is, I think, to keep the interest going, you know, into growing vegetables wherever we feel we are stuck. Fortunate to have a gardening community in the group. Those who are not part of that gardening group, you can request Alok or Deepthi, I think she is the admin, to have yourself joined there, so that anytime anything unusual you notice in a plant, you know, just share a pic, and then our expert here is there to
absolutely help. Absolutely.
Okay. Yes, Krishna, right, that's right. It's more of a satisfaction of growing and eating fresh veggies, you know, you just harvest and eat. Next, health benefits are very high. Okay, should we have some cover on top of the soil to make it water efficient? No, that we discussed, not required. Vinay suggests Namdari seeds are also good. And
well, I have not tested. See, all these Namdhari, Amazon, anything, you can start with them.
Correct, yeah.
But if you start very closely doing terrace gardening, create your own seed bank, and it is the easiest thing. Just you have to leave one produce in the plant. That's all. Please don't eat that one.
Spare one.
Wonderful.
Spare one for the seeds. Okay. What's the indication that leaves are turning yellow?
What are the? Oh, it depends. What happens when the plant grow? The bottom leaves, they become yellow. That is aging process. That's okay. But sometimes you will, sometimes there's a indication of infection also. Sometimes you will see in the tomatoes or even in the brinjal leaves in the bottom, you will see white spots on the leaves, and those white spots will change into yellow spot, and then from that yellow it will spread over to the whole of the leaf, and the whole leaf will become yellow and will fall in. So that is a sign of infection. That is something we call it as a viral infection. Now two things here. When you come across yellow leaf with viral infection, some indication of viral infection, you have to do two things here. One is you remove then and there only. That leaf, you have to remove that. Otherwise, it has a tendency to spread to other leaves also and to the main trunk also. Cut it. Second, there is a medicine called ViroClean. It's an organic medicine, which I think I can get you. You can get in touch with me offline, and I can get you. And you need to spray depending upon the extent of infection. If it is more infected and you have reacted very late, then alternate days you need to spray. And spraying is also very important. It is not on top of the leaf. You need to on top also. In the bottom leaf also you have to spray. So your nozzle has to move in both directions when you are spraying the ViroClean, or as a matter of fact, any other pesticide, organic pesticide.
Okay. But otherwise, if you notice in the initial very stage, you can just take it off and you're done. Tomato,
No. Still you have to spray the ViroClean, but maybe once in a week. But if it is more affected, then on alternate days you need to spray. But still you have to spray till you see there are no yellow further developing, no yellow leaves developing further.
Oh, okay. Okay. The next one, Nidhi wants you to throw some tomatoes in her house.
Tomatoes in her house, yes. I keep doing her. After this session, definitely she'll get some surprise tomato package.
Or she can visit you for tomato.
Yeah, actually, yes.
Okay, and then Pankaj says it's a wonderful session, awesome session, lots of happy faces and a lot of thank yous. Okay, so I think we are at the end of the session, and personally, very, very, very thank you, Alok, because having the knowledge is one and sharing with everybody, and the interest to share is one other.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Glad that you could give this session. And I have recorded this session, which will also be uploaded and shared with everybody for everyone's use. I think now you're officially the LSH gardening consultant, we can say.
Thank you.
Yeah? So lovely to have you on this.
Yeah, now about the planter box. Maybe by Monday evening or Tuesday evening, I will have both set of samples ready. One sample is already there, but we need to do some modification in that. And by not promising Monday evening, but Tuesday evening, I have both the planter box ready. People can come and visit. They can place an order. I again repeat, it is cost to cost. It is beautiful.
Yeah.
And it will give you a very quick result. Just think over that. Please come.
And for Deepti's question that she had, we can answer. It's basically a package wood, Deepti, and the challenging part is picking the dry wood, because the one box that we tried was actually little raw. I mean, it was not dried enough. So just with 2-3 days of rain, you can already see that black fungi layer which has come on that. So the trickiest thing is to find the vendor who has the dried log, and will be able to has his own machine to cut it for us. That's where we can bring the cost down. So me and Alok, mainly Alok is talking to the vendor and also trying to see some design updates and things like that. So yeah, even the sheet, right? There we had a very starting option of tarpaul, because if you use the tarpaul, it will not bear the weight much, and not more than 3 to 4 months it will last with this heat and rain. So then that's where Alok researched and found some vendor who has the suitable UV protected sheet as they claim. I mean, the best possible option that we have in the market. And so I think, the best, and we are trying to squeeze even every 50 rupees and 100 rupees also possible. And we have some rough number in mind to push the bulk order and to get it done. So we'll try to do the best from our end to give everything. And the design is so beautiful. It even has the bush at the bottom so that your stand, which is the wood, does not get wet every time you wash the area or when it rains and things like that. And then there is a varnish which is put, which extends the life of the the wooden planks that is used. So yeah, I think that's the best option, and Alok would revert to us with the pricing and to take the order. Yes, when can we place bulk order? Usha, yeah. Alok would be finalizing the design. There are fine tunes to be done, which we are talking to the vendor. And in 2-3 days, we will send message and start taking the order. And then within a week, it can be.
Yes, we can do that.
Okay, so we are good. I think now after this session, everybody are eager to start their own, with couple of boxes to start with greens and then roots and then the one with the shoots, right? Okay,
Yes,
great.
yes.
Thank you very much. I know this session went much beyond the time that we had planned for, but so glad that it was so informative. And yeah, I think it's quite inspiring to start growing our own veggies. Thanks, everyone.
Just one quick thing, Pavitra, if I may. I have put up the link to the WhatsApp LSH Gardening Enthusiast group on the LSH Neighbor main group as well as the Ladies of Lakeshore. So if any of you who are listening and not part of the group can please use the link to join.
Yes, thanks, Deepthi. Yeah, that was required. Yes, thank you. All right, bye, everyone. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Thank